UN Update, the Syria crisis. Reporting from the United Nations, I'm Frank Uciardo. More than 250,000 Syrians have lost their lives in Syria's civil war. The conflict continues to rage on, pitting government forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad against those opposed to his rule, including jihadist militants from the so-called Islamic State. So far, more than 11 million civilians have been forced from their homes by the civil war, and the refugee figures are staggering. Over the last 4 years, nearly 900,000 refugees have applied for political asylum, and the latest headlines show no promise of an end to the bloodshed and flow of refugees fleeing the conflict. But there has been somewhat of a breakthrough for UN aid convoys. Trucks carrying aid have reached 5 besieged towns in Syria. Jacob Kern from the World Food Program says it's the first aid convoy since last July.
This is the first convoy since July 2014, and the World Food Program is now providing family rations for all the 45,000 citizens that are remaining here. A lot of them are internally displaced, and it's appalling to see how their living conditions are. Even the people that live here are living in buildings that are half destroyed.
Aid convoys have also reached Madaya, a town besieged by Syrian forces in Damascus province. Jan Egeland, who heads the UN's Humanitarian Aid Task Force, says it's just the beginning.
114 big trucks delivered life-saving humanitarian supplies to 80,000 people in 5 besieged areas. We will also hope then to have progress in reaching the poor people inside of Deir ez-Zor, which is, as you know, besieged by Islamic State. That can only be done by airdrops, and World Food Program has now a concrete plan of doing so.
Meanwhile, the latest casualties involve the bombing of several hospitals supported by Doctors Without Borders. According to the UN, at least 50 civilians were killed when missiles hit 5 medical centers and 2 schools in rebel-held cities, including Azaz and Marat Numan in the northwestern province of Idlib. Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders, also believes the attack was carried out by Syrian and Russian forces. They are now calling for an independent investigation into the airstrikes. Doctors Without Borders has stopped sharing its hospital locations in Syria with the Syrian and Russian forces because they believe they are being deliberately targeted. UN Update, reporting from the United Nations, I'm Frank Uciardo.